I don't know how the book talk girlies do it.
It's kind of cringe.
I hate turning left.
It's Wednesday now. The readathon ended Sunday. This vlog might not end up being super exciting.
Hey book lovers, I'm Elise and welcome to the reading vlog for the Suns Out Books Out Readathon 2023. I'm so excited that this readathon is returning. It made its debut last year in 2022 and I had so much fun with it. So I was thrilled when the hosts announced that it would be coming back for a second round. This year I am a little bummed because it's not a full week-long readathon, it's just for the weekend. It officially starts tomorrow, June 23rd and goes through Sunday, June 25th, but I'm gonna get a jump start on it. Today is Thursday the 22nd because first of all, I just want a little bit more time to get to all the reads, and second, I have a really busy weekend coming up. Tomorrow I have a baby shower to go to, and Saturday I have a belated Father's Day outing with my boyfriend's family. So we'll probably be out on the boat on the lake for most of the day. I don't know how much reading I'll be able to get done, so that's why I wanted to start today. This readathon has 3 prompts. The first is to read a book with water on the cover. The second is to read a beach read, and the third is to read a book with nostalgic summer vibes. There is a buddy read, which is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I did start that today, but unfortunately I've already DNF'd it. It's a YA contemporary about a girl who goes on vacation with her family in, I believe, Martha's Vineyard, and it sounds like her sister recently passed away and we're not really sure what happened yet. I'm assuming later on in the book we'll find out. But yeah, I did DNF it. Not uncommon for me with YA contemporaries. I just have a really hard time getting into them. So unfortunately that one is a pass for me. I do have 3 other picks that I've chosen to fit the prompts. For prompt 1, water on the cover, I have Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton. This is a historical fiction. It talks a lot about the beauty and the political unrest of Cuba. For my beach read pick, I chose My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. This one's pretty short. I figure it would go pretty quick. And for the third prompt, nostalgic summer vibes, I've chosen Homefront by Kristen Hanna. I chose this one because I fell in love with Kristen Hanna probably like 14 summers ago, and I feel like every time I've read her books it's been around the summertime, so definitely nostalgic vibes for me. This is one of her backlist, one of the only backlist of hers that I have not yet read. If you've never read Kristen Hanna, she usually writes a lot about the lives of women. They're usually very emotional reads, so I'm sure I'll enjoy it, but I'm sure I'll cry. So those are the picks that I'm hoping to read this weekend. Like I said, I'm gonna get a jump start today. I got just over 50% of the way through this book and I'm DNFing it. And I'm actually really sad about it because I love Kristen Hanna. This was my nostalgic summer vibes pick because she's a very nostalgic author for me, particularly her backlist. This, I didn't care. I didn't care at all. And it really doesn't help that the audiobook, first of all, okay, I've never listened to a Kristen Hanna audiobook. All of her books that I've read, I did so physically. And actually, because I just started getting into audiobooks like maybe 2 years ago, if that, and I haven't read a Kristen Hanna book in that time. So I think part of it did have to do with that. The other part with the audiobook, when I listen to audiobooks, generally I like to do a tandem read, so I'm reading the book physically as I'm listening to it. And you couldn't do that with this one because the audiobook actually skipped chunks of the book, like pages. And the first time that happened, I was like, well, maybe it's just random. And then it happened again, where it's like I lost my place for a while and then I kept flipping forward to find where I was. And like there were, like I said, pages that were completely skipped. So I looked at the reviews on Scribd for this audio, which was where I was listening to it. And there are a couple people that mentioned that it skips chunks of the book for no apparent reason. So yeah, the audiobook quality was not great, but then I also just didn't really enjoy the story. So this book is about this woman, Jolene. She is in the military. She's married. She has 2 daughters, a teenager, or almost like a preteen. She's 12, and a 4-year-old, and her husband's a lawyer. And it was just very detailed as far as their
marriage and their dynamic and how it's kind of changed over the years, and how he's just one of those husbands that works too much and forgets birthdays and buys generic gifts to make up for forgetting the birthday, misses out on events for the family. So that was kind of like, ugh. You know, I didn't really enjoy reading about that. Jolene actually gets deployed to Iraq because this takes place during the war in Iraq. Then it got kind of intense. Not intense. I mean, there aren't like battle scenes necessarily, but just a lot of war talk. And I'm not really into that. It's not something I wanted to hear about, which makes me a little nervous because Kristen Hanna's new book that comes out next year takes place during the Vietnam War. But that's a historical fiction. And I completely agree. While I do love a few of her backlist, I do agree that her newer stuff is more palatable, and the historical stories that she tells are really good. Like I said, I got to the 50% mark and I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to trudge through this for another 50%. So I'm DNFing it. Which sucks because now that is 2 books for this readathon that I have DNF'd. I wanted to get started today, Thursday, so that I would actually have time to read everything, hopefully. And so I'm down to 2 books, the Tessa Bailey one and the historical fiction that takes place in Cuba. So this vlog might not end up being super exciting. It is Saturday. I didn't read it all yesterday. Between working all day, having to get my kids ready to go to their dad's, taking them to meet him, and then Nick and I had a baby shower to go to yesterday. It was actually a joint couples baby shower because it was for his sister, and she lives in Southern California. So they had a lot of people come, so it was just a big party. It was really fun. There were tons of people there, so my social anxiety is kind of rearing its ugly head a little bit. There was a big taco bar, chips and salsa, and margaritas. But a really fun part was we did like a onesie decorating contest. So we had like the bubble paint or whatever it's called, the onesie with all the cactus on the front. Yep, I did that one. Long story short, I guess I didn't do any reading yesterday. I have solidified a new TBR. So in place of Homefront, which was the Nostalgic Summer Vibes, I picked up Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. Feel nostalgic summer vibes for that one, and I don't really know why, because I did not enjoy book 2 in the Dial A for Aunties series, which I read last summer. Whereas Dial A for Aunties, which I loved, I read like the winter prior. But I don't know, either way, it filled me with happiness and joy and nostalgic feeling. So I was like, okay, I will pick that one. Right now I am headed to town. I have to drop off some library books. I'm headed to the library to return those books. I'm going to stop at Starbucks. I should get the Suns Out Books Out drink. It's a delicious lemonade, and I loved it last year. It is like 10 o'clock in the morning, and I want coffee. And then I have to run back home. I'm ready. Oh, we're going on the boat today with Nick's family. I'm going to bring a book. I'm going to try to read. Honestly, guys, I'm banking on tomorrow being the day that I get to read a bunch, because it's a busy weekend. Oh, gosh. They made that strong. Library books dropped off. I hate turning left. It stresses me out. We're good. We're good. We're good. Look at that. Look at that. Okay.
ocean's warm? Do you like it better when you see the sun? Do you like it better when the sky is blue? I know I do. In a summer state of mind, we'd be wasted all the time. In a summer state of mind, in a summer state of mind.
I'm now about 60 pages into Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers. I'm liking it so far. There's a lot of characters. There's a few points of view. And as I'm reading it, I flip to the next chapter and it's like another completely new point of view. It's, I don't know, a little comical that there keeps being more characters. So far what has happened in this book is we've met Vera, and she's a 60-year-old Chinese mom. She's widowed, and she has a very strict routine with herself to keep herself spry and healthy. And every morning she wakes up at the exact same time without the use of an alarm clock. She has her whole like beauty routine that she does, and she goes for a walk, and she knows exactly how many steps during the walk that she takes. And then she gets back to her tea house, and she opens up and goes about her day. Well, one morning she wakes up, and there's a body in the tea shop. So as far as the point of views go, we have the point of view of Vera, we have the point of view of the wife of the man whose body was found in the tea shop, and then three other characters who, as of right now, I don't really know who they are or what they have to do with the body. Still kind of learning more about that. So far, I am liking it. I like the writing, and it is funny, which I'm happy about. I ended up getting the audiobook for this from Audible because I couldn't find it on Scribd or through my library or Hoopla. Kind of back on needing an audiobook to stay focused on books. What I might do is, and I'm notorious for doing this with my readathon vlogs, but I might extend it like a day or two to see if I can squeeze in another book so I have a little bit more bookish content to talk to you guys about, because as fun as this weekend was, I didn't do a lot of reading and I want to be able to provide more for you than just one book and DNFing 2 books. I'm about halfway through this now. I was really liking it at one point. We finally got all the characters because I kept saying that we kept getting introduced to new characters. I'm like, oh my gosh, when's it gonna stop? So that finally tapered out and I was really liking it. I love Vera. She is hilarious. If you read Dial A for Aunties and you loved the aunties and just their quirkiness and their humor and their personalities, then you'd probably really like this because that's exactly how Vera is. It's kind of getting a little slow for me now, so all the points of views, I prefer Vera's point of view because I feel like there's actually story progression when we're in her POV, but when we're not, when we're in some of the other characters' POV, it just feels like a little bit deeper dive into who these characters are. And it's like, I don't really care. Kind of just want to get back to the main storyline of Vera trying to solve this, what she thinks is a murder. That's the only thing that I'm struggling with right now is every time we're not in Vera's point of view, I want to get back to that. As of right now, it's probably sitting at about 4 stars, which I think that's what I rated Dial A for Aunties was 4 stars. So today is Monday, so I am going to extend this vlog for a couple more days past the readathon because I hope to finish this today or tomorrow. I'm trying to think of other things that this book reminds me of. The show Dead to Me with Christina Applegate. I see a little bit of that in here. Other than that, it's pretty unique, I would say. I'm not seeing a whole lot of inspiration having been pulled from other things. I'm really disappointed with myself and how this readathon vlog has been going. I feel like aside from some pretty decent B-roll because I had such a busy weekend. I didn't read much. On page 247 of 333 for Vera Wong. The audiobook says I have like an hour and 20 minutes left at my current speed. I'm really disappointed. Because, I don't know, I mean, weekend readathons I typically extend anyways, just because it's, for me, usually pretty unrealistic to try to fit in more than one book in a weekend, just because I either have my kids, so I'm busy doing things with them, or during the summertime. I mean, we're a big boating family, so between my parents and my boyfriend's parents, we're usually on the boat every weekend, and I'm forced to be social, so I don't usually get to just sit and read. But I did really want to read more than just the one book in this vlog, even though I've technically read 1.5 and like a quarter of another one. But as far as being able to share my thoughts, it's Wednesday now. The readathon ended Sunday. Oh, and work has been crazy busy both last week and so far this week. And mentally, I'm kind of getting burnt out. So I'm very much looking forward to having a 4-day weekend this weekend because we have Monday and Tuesday off for Independence Day. Thank goodness. So, but yeah, just disappointed in myself, but it's like, I feel like I'm doing my best. Anyways, like I said, I have like 70-ish pages left of this one. All the different POVs, the whole point of these other characters coming into POV are because Vera considered them suspects for the murder of the person that she found in her tea shop. At this point, she has proven the innocence of 2 of them, but there's 2 more that she is still kind of contemplating. But it's funny because like in the meantime, she's friends with these people. I mean, they have integrated her into their lives. I do still feel like I prefer just Vera's POV. I don't think the story would change a whole lot if we only had Vera's POV. As far as like who I think actually murdered him, or if it was even murder in the first place, because that's kind of like talked about throughout the book. Like, is it murder? Is it an accident? Like, what really happened? I don't know. Like, it could honestly go either way. I think it would be really funny if it was just complete, total accident. And Vera's been spending all this time doing like her own little investigation, thinking that it was a murder. But I don't know. I don't know which way it's going to go. To me, it's not overly obvious. So, yay, I finished a book in this vlog. It was really cute. I enjoyed it. I liked the way that it wrapped up. Bit of a twist at the end. I think if you are a fan of, first of all, tea, if you're a tea lover, I think that you would enjoy this because throughout the story, that's a pretty vital part. Definitely if you're a fan of found family, there's lots of that in here because, I mean, throughout the entire story, Vera is building these close relationships with people that she'd never known before. 4 stars is what I'm sticking with. I think that's a pretty good rating. Welcome to my garage where my treadmill is located. I would be out for a walk today and it is warm out, but Michigan is very smoky again because of the wildfires and our air quality is not good. Even looking outside, it looks super hazy. I'm about 70 pages into My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey. I started reading it last night and I'm liking it so far. It's kind of cute. We've got Taylor. She is vacationing with her brother in Cape Cod. They rented out a house in like this really nice neighborhood, and they get there and they are kind of looking around the house, doing a little bit of a self-tour. Eventually, they end up finding a dead body. I think she said like wedged between the washer and dryer. Taylor, she's like a crime junkie. She listens to a bunch of true crime podcasts, and she's like kind of excited. She's like, I can do this. I can solve this murder. The family that owns the house, they hired a bounty hunter who used to be an investigator, but he's not anymore. But they hired him to basically investigate. And of course, he's really, really hot and drives a motorcycle and is covered in tattoos. He and Taylor are reluctantly hitting it off, and he doesn't want her involved. She refuses to not be involved in this. She's like, hey, I'm the one that found the body. I listened to like a million podcasts. I can do this. As far as the romance goes, it hasn't really gotten smutty yet. I mean, I'm only 70 pages in, but I can tell it's going to get there. There's officially been some smut. I don't know how the book talk girlies do it. honestly. It's pretty smutty. But, you know, the mystery aspect is pretty good, like the murder mystery. So I ended up getting the audio for it. I had like a $10 reward from Audible. I ended up just buying the audiobook because I didn't think that I was going to have enough time to read it physically today with having work. And then I'm actually at the meeting location right now to exchange my kids back from their dad on my way over here. Well, while I was working a little bit today, and I got groceries on my lunch, and then on my way here, I've been listening to this on audio. I'm probably like pushing 70% at this point, and I have like an hour and a half left on the audio with my current speed. I will finish this tonight.
I don't like coffee.
So I finished this last night, and I have some thoughts. As far as the story goes, it was fine. The mystery was pretty good, and I thought that there was a really good balance between like the romance and there being an actual mystery, murder mystery with plot. The romance itself, not my favorite. It was very stereotypical, like tiny, petite little female and like big burly monster of a man. And I did kind of like, so Taylor, she's a second grade teacher, she's very sweet, and then Miles, being a retired investigator, well, I don't know if he's retired, but like he used to be an investigator, and then something kind of went wrong on a case that he did back in Boston, so he's just been bounty hunting since then. Oh, and he's divorced, so he thinks that he's not worth anything, not worth loving, not worth anyone wasting their time on him. He has like a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're insecurities, things that he has to get over, like get over his own thoughts, you know, before he's able to really truly open up to Taylor. But of course, because she's so perfect and tiny, he just can't resist her. He's never encountered anyone like her before. It's kind of cringe. The spice was very spicy for me. I've read spice before. It was almost too much for me. I like the kind of spice that's in ACOTAR. I think it's very tastefully done, and it's a very small part of the story, whereas this book, it was probably about half the story, honestly. And then as far as the mystery goes, I wasn't surprised by the outcome, but I also wasn't like impressed necessarily. There was like the reveal and then a little bit of a twist and another reveal kind of, and it felt very Scooby-Doo to me, honestly. It was fine. I enjoyed most of the story. I really did like Taylor's relationship with her brother Jude. I liked Jude a lot. I thought they had a really cool bond, and it makes me really wish that I had a brother. All in all, I rated this, I think I ended up going 3.5 stars. For a lot of the book, I was kind of thinking like, okay, this is probably going to be like about a 4. The epilogue was cute, but the way things wrapped up, 3.5. It's 3.5. Anyways, this took way longer than expected. However, I'm not surprised. A recap for the Suns Out Books Out Readathon. I started and DNF'd the buddy read, which was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. I got about 20% before DNFing that one. And then I got about 50% into Kristen Hanna's Homefront before DNFing that one. And then I read Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, and I really enjoyed that one. I gave it 4 stars. And then, of course, ended it with My Killer Vacation by Tessa Bailey, and this was 3.5 stars. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this weekend turned week-long readathon. If you also participated, let me know in the comments below what you read and what you thought of them. And until next time, bye!